In this video, you will learn what a mole is and why chemists work in moles. A mole is quite simply a specific number. In life, we might ask for 12 or 1 dozen eggs, or a pair of socks for 2, or a ream of 500 sheets of paper. A mole is exactly the same. It's just a number, and is specifically 6.02 times 10 to the 23. We could have a mole of eggs, a mole of socks, or even 1 mole of sheets of paper. However, in chemistry, we normally use it to represent atoms or molecules. This is because atoms are so small. It's just a convenient term to represent massive numbers. And a mole is a massive number. It's 602 with another 21 zeros after it. Just to give you an idea of how huge this number is, if you took 1 mole of marbles, they would not only cover the entire Earth's surface, but they would cover it to a depth of near 3.5 kilometers deep. As you can see, a mole is a mind-blowingly large number. And the reason for this is that atoms are just so incredibly small. In a half-litre bottle of water, there will be just over 25 moles of water molecules. Pause this video now and use a calculator to try and work out the number of atoms in 25 moles of water. Remember, 1 mole contains 6.02 times 10 to the 23 molecules of water. Hopefully, you got the answer of 1.505 times 10 to the 25. It is 25 moles multiplied by 6.02 times 10 to the 23. You can learn more about this in our video on Avogadro's number. Now you can see why we use the term mole. It is just a convenient way to quantify huge numbers. It's much easier to talk about 2 moles of sodium rather than 1.204 times 10 to the 24 atoms of sodium. And it's much easier to mention half a mole of water rather than 3.01 times 10 to the 23 water molecules. So what exactly does 1 mole of atoms or molecules weigh? Well, this just depends on how big your atoms are. Just because we've the same number of atoms in 1 mole, it does not mean that they are all the same size. For example, you're probably aware that hydrogen atom is much smaller than a heavy gold atom. So 1 mole of gold will weigh much more than 1 mole of hydrogen. Just in the same way that a dozen eggs would weigh more than 1 dozen grains of rice. We will look in more detail at calculating the mass of moles in our next video on using moles. Now, at the end of this video, you should understand that the mole is just a number. You should know that this number is Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23. And you should have an appreciation that this is a very large number indeed.